It hurts real bad. Until you hit the gas.
Hey everybody, we are back with the Takumi Sen 11. Today, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a rough run. It's the second run of the day in this. Earlier I was running in something else, which I will tell you about soon. But for now, we're going to go through the specs, and then I'm going to try to adhere to some semblance of structure. I know I could be pretty divergent, but we'll go specs, fit, and then the ride. I think that's a good way to break it down for y'all. So without further ado, 33 in the heel down to 26 in the forefoot for a 7 mil drop. Or at least it's a 7 mil drop, and they have a classic Adidas 33. Let's see if I can dim the light for, yeah, there you go. The 33 on the heel and the braille. I don't know if that's official braille, but there's 33 millimeters right there for you. So yeah, so it's 33 down to 26 for a 7 mil drop. And I did weigh these earlier, but I'm just gonna, for the sake of giving you full take on it. So that's 191 and 191. All right, Adidas. They heard us running our mouths about QA out here and decided to take a big kick in the face with the Takumi on QA. So it's literally perfect QA. And 191, it's pretty light. It's a light shoe no matter which way you look at it. So what other stats? Well, I'm going to go bottom up this time for some reason. We have a patch of Continental rubber on the outsole, CPU, light traction, outsole on the rest. This stuff is phenomenal. I've said it before. I'm going to keep saying it. It's really good, and it was really good today. The foam is the new Light Strike Pro, but tuned to be a little firmer, according to, I think it was an interview that somebody from Adidas gave with Running Warehouse, but I might be conflating my information sources a little bit. But yeah, it feels a lot like the Light Strike Pro and the Adios 9 to me when squeezing, like to the finger test. So it's Light Strike Pro. I mean, it is a very familiar feel to people that have run in Adidas shoes. And at least in hand it is. And to the upper, it's the light lock system that is used on the Adios Pro 4 and the Adios 9. The tongue is sewn in here, and it's a different tongue than is on the Adios 9. It's a little less soft and still has a decent amount of padding. Nothing really to complain about as far as the tongue's concerned, but it's different than is in the Adios 9. And then you have Adidas laces, and I'm going to show you something here too, because I'm going to otherwise forget to talk about it. You could see that I already took the laces out from underneath this Adidas sort of logo and lace stabilization mechanism that they have under here, this loop situation. And that's because the tongue, as you could see from the outside here, the stitching, that's what sews the tongue in. So the tongue is stationary, and yet they have this thing here with the laces in it. And what I was finding on the run was the laces are really hard to cinch down, and like you got to bend your fingers really delicately to get the two that are supposed to be underneath, like this eyelet chain right here and this cross of the two eyelet chains, where the laces sit underneath that typically as it comes stock. it's like almost impossible to get that section of the midfoot locked down correctly because I don't have little tiny baby fingers. And so it was literally like a pain to the point where in the middle of the run, I had to completely unlace down to this eyelet, relace, and it made absolutely no difference that the laces aren't going through this like, whatever you would call that, lace stabilization thing. And so you could probably pull that lace stabilization thing off altogether and save like 3 or 4 grams, maybe more. It's plasticky, so it doesn't weigh nothing. It's like a weird rubberized plastic feeling thing. And so that was weird, ding number 1 for the shoe. And I hope that it's not too obvious what direction this is going, but it's going that direction. The lacing system is pretty bad. It's a pretty bad lacing system, and I don't know how it's so much worse than it is on the Adios 9. Now, I did have like small gripes with the Adios 9's lacing system as well. It wasn't exactly easy to get a nice lockdown, but once you did, it was pretty much good to go for the rest of the run. Like you might fiddle with it a little bit getting it set up, and then it was good to go. I was fiddling with this for 8 miles, trying to get it to work. It's very reminiscent of the Adios Pro 3. Not as bad as the Takumi Sen 10 as far as trying to discover a good lockdown, but it was not an easy quest. I think that I did manage to do it in the end, and this is one of those shoes where I do think that this is going to warrant a lot of additional miles for a couple of reasons, to get a good, determined, definite verdict on how I feel about it. Because this run wasn't a good tell. I mean, it's never a good sign when you spend the majority of your run screwing around with the lacing to try to get a good lockdown on a shoe. I mean, it was really that bad. But the upper material is at least comfortable. It's a good, nice material. It's the same sort of fabric-y feeling upper that's on the Adios Pro 4 and the Adios 9. The laces, I don't know how much I want to harp on about this because Adidas probably has received the message. If they haven't received the message, they really, really need to stop being completely cheap with their laces. I feel like these are half of the problem with the lacing system, where you have to like cut your fingers up on the piano wire of laces just to mess around with them to get a good lockdown. And if they were serrated, they would be better able to grip the eyelet chain all the way up, and you could have better adjustment on each eyelet like cross section and tailor the fit on each cross section rather than having to cinch down pretty uniformly across the entire shoe, right? They slit. They don't have tension and they don't have a grip point, so they just sort of slip about. Bad lacing system, Adidas, bad lacing system, and you would think you would have learned from the Adios Pro 3. It is better than the Adios Pro 3, and it is better than the Takumi Sen 10. So, step in the right direction, still atrocious. The upper, though, is comfortable. I did have heel lift. I did have a lot of heel lift throughout until I was able to lock this down decently. It took a long time, but I did get there, and the padding is nice. It's comfortable. I like the styling on the upper, too. It looks nice. It's a really nice looking shoe. So was the Takumi Sen 10. Different, right? Different aesthetically. And I could probably even... Ooh. Looks very different, right? But it's sharp. I mean, I was such a sucker for this, like... peachy Miami Vice sort of California sunset decal on the, or not decal, but yeah, just gradient on the midsole. It's a nice looking shoe. This is also a nice looking shoe. They're both really nice. This feels even heavier in hand, and I'm going to do a full comparison, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but just for your sake. Yeah, it's 208 grams. So it's like 18 grams heavier than this. This is lighter, so that's also an improvement. That's great. So now, oh, in the fit. So I sort of skipped over that a little bit, but the fit. I told you I'm really scatterbrained, but the fit is it's good. It fits a little long and a slightly wide, I would say. At least much wider than this, and that's a good thing. The Takumi Sen 10 was too narrow, as a matter of fact, and this is a reasonably accommodating fit. It was definitely too long. But that's okay. I would rather a shoe be too long than too short for me. I'm not, going to lose sleep over that. And especially since for my size, 9.5, I am on the very low end of that size range. This just seems to fit a little bit longer than the typical, like if you averaged out all shoes that are a 9.5 that I've ever tried on, this is just a titch longer than those. And so it's fine. It's okay. It also has the rods, the carbon fiber. They were carbon fiber in the last iteration of this, but now they're reverting back to a glass fiber style rod. And I don't know exactly which way they're tuned, whether they're supposed to be snappier or supposed to be firmer. For me, not snappier or firmer, like more pliant or snappier. For me, this felt a slight amount more flexible than its predecessor, coming off the forefoot, but maintained a really good snap. I mean, it's if super shoes get the designation of big booming bounce that's characteristic of a super shoe, like name your super shoe, like an Alpha Fly or an Edge Paris, or like this is just a term that I've applied to particularly the Edge Paris, but I've heard applied tons of other more full, voluminous super shoes. If that's what people use to define super shoes, this is like a snap. It's like a crack. It's like a bone crack almost. It's like those fireworks that you throw at the ground, and they explode. Yeah, it's like that, or it's like it's just like a sharp whacking, like a paddle hitting the ping pong ball court. That's what the tennis table. Yeah, it's sharp. It's like a belt. Like if you've ever taken a belt and done this to intimidate somebody. It's a cracking shoe, if you will. So that's a lot of descriptions of how it feels underfoot. The reality for me was it hurt underfoot. It was a very harsh ride. Again, not as harsh as this, but harsh. I mean, it really did hurt to land on in the forefoot, especially at slower paces. And I don't really understand if it's maybe like a construction problem with the whole concept of the shoe. If maybe the fiberglass rods are a little too thick vertically, so there's not enough room between the foam in the bottom of the shoe and the foam above your foot to accommodate the thickness of the rods as a technology. Or because it's hard enough to say whether or not I got rod feel, because each landing on the forefoot was painful regardless. So I don't have any necessarily like direct rod feeling that I got from it, but perhaps that's the way they tuned the Light Strike Pro in this to be harsher, i.e. potentially denser, to avoid your foot bottoming out into the rods. Either way, it combines into this very harsh ride on the forefoot. Now, that was especially prominent at slower paces. Once I got into the 7 to 710 range, that seems to be where the shoe wanted to settle for me at my fitness level. And up until that point, it felt not very assistive to run in. And I didn't really have the juice in me to take it past that point today. I was like exhausted and my feet hurt. But at that pace range, that's sort of where I limited out. I got into a rhythm with it and it started to really click and it made sense, right? And I have this sort of theory. I mean, it's a theory that a lot of people that run in running shoes have, that each shoe has an optimal pace range. And my spin on the theory is that it's really literal and you could find the exact pace that the shoe wants you to run in, right? As if like it sort of, and maybe this is not true of every pair of shoes, but there are some that I've found especially tailored towards specific paces. This today was one of those shoes, and the Rebel V4 seems to want me at my current fitness to run at 820. It's a random pace. I don't know why, but almost every time I go out in that shoe, that's the pace that I'm running in, right? And this, I didn't feel comfortable in basically any pace except for like, when I looked down, it was mostly 7:10, down to 7 is what I was seeing as like, I understand this shoe now. Oh, I'm actually feeling really good in this. This is, maybe it's not such a train wreck after all. Yeah, it was a narrow window of about 10 seconds. So that really tells you how I feel about this out of the gate. But it is propulsive when I was getting down to those faster paces, and I'm sure if I picked it up even further, if my forefoot could handle the impact over a long-ish period of time, like even 3 miles would be a lot of beating to put into my forefoot at faster paces. But maybe the foam compound, the properties of it would change if I was at those paces. And so, I think there's a lot more testing to be done with this. I also do feel like once I got a good fit and good lacing, like lockdown and sort of precariously placed, like each eyelet chain very delicately arranged in an optimal pattern, the upper problems did sort of melt away and I was able to forget about the upper. And that is down to the really great light lock system. The fabric as well is very comfortable. It's a nice upper material as well. I think there are some unforgivables. The unforgivable is Adidas really cannot be using these laces anymore. The other thing that I was about to forget, but I'm glad I didn't, is this aglet here is completely bendable. It's like it like broke when I was putting it through the eyelets. I like hit the side because I have terrible aim. And it just like bent in half. And I don't think it's going to matter in the long run, but they're flimsy. They're like a child's craft project of a lace. It's like a yarn that a kid like squished Elmer's glue onto and hit with a fake hammer to create an aglet. That's how bad the laces are. I don't want to be so harsh on this shoe because I was really excited about it. And what I know about Lightstrike Pro too is that it does age well. It gets better with time and then it never ever dies. And also this CPU outsole, this light traction outsole, I mean, it is grippy as heck. I mean, it's dry outside, but I know from the Adios 9 that this is the number one. The outsole is going to be the last component of the shoe standing, even after the Lightstrike Pro is dead. The upper is going to disintegrate first, right? This is going to be a very long-lasting shoe. It's a tank of a shoe, in fact. But God, it was not a pleasant run. So I'm going to give this more time. I'm definitely going to give this more time. I think it demands a lot out of you as a runner. And there is every chance that I just didn't have enough to give it today. And I don't want to write it off just yet as a shoe. So with that being said, there's a question I like to ask on this channel in first run reviews on a new shoe or shoes that I've been running in for a while and haven't reviewed on YouTube. But for this first review, I want to ask of the Takumi Sen 11, if this were a person, historical figure, alive or dead, character, anything, who would it be and why? Well, gave this some thought, and there was a movie that I watched recently that was a nail-biter, totally anxiety-ridden, thriller-style movie called Whiplash. It's about a jazz drummer who is pushed to the brink by his jazz teacher, who is just a malicious bully character, right? Played by J.K. Simmons. Phenomenal character, phenomenal movie. But the idea behind the movie is obsession and bringing out the absolute perfection and best out of dedicated people. And that's sort of the thesis behind the J.K. Simmons character. To, at all costs, bully, berate, bruise, and destroy the joy of music in order to bring about the most beautiful, flawless music in his pupils. And based on my run today alone, I feel pretty comfortable in saying that the Takumi Sen 11 is that character. So if anybody has any idea what I'm talking about or has seen Whiplash, I don't even remember the character's name, but J.K. Simmons, the guy that played him. And God, that was such a good movie. And, you know, but every good movie needs a great, strong protagonist, and it cannot exist without a villain. And so maybe this is Adidas's villain arc. I don't know. Maybe it's the laces are them on their Eminem grind, throwing up a middle finger and being like, yeah, we know you don't want our laces, but you're going to buy our shoes anyways. Either way, this was a huge major disappointment, but I could see it getting better. So I don't like to give such horribly negative first reviews, but I cannot not. It hurt. It hurt a lot. And it hurt less than the Takumi Sen 10. So maybe the Takumi just does not work for me. This is a huge leap forward from the Takumi Sen 10. This is like miles better than the Takumi Sen 10. Just being objective here. Like I did not have a good run in this. If I were running in this today, it would have all of the problems of being much narrower, with more constrictive lacing and firmer foam. Like even if I'm squeezing this now, and this is brutal to try to squeeze. It's like a total brick of a shoe. And this has, I mean, you really are not going to be able to see exactly like how it feels. But this is like trying to squeeze something like a frozen steak. It's like who handles a frozen steak? Like a partially thawed steak, but still really frozen steak. Or like a bodybuilder that's flexing, that's really ripped, like that type of muscle, like a really firm muscle. And this is like somebody's soft muscle. Like if they're just sitting there, right? Like I could squeeze. I mean, maybe it's a little firmer than that, but it's, you know, it's a shoe. It's not a muscle. I don't know how to describe it to you. I think that you get the point. I'm going to stop ranting at you. I hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate your attention. I will be back with more content for this. The story is not over by a long shot.